What's up, guys? Here's a video to help anybody who's having a little bit of shoulder dysfunction. The way you know you're having dysfunction is like, say you're benching and you're trying really hard to keep your elbows in, but your one elbow keeps ticking out, or you're getting like stiffness in the neck. Your neck always feels tight and it generally feels like it's pulling through here. That's for the most part a sign of compensation. The human body still makes movements happen even if the right muscles aren't firing. When we're using our lat to bench, that's what keeps our elbow in and allows us to press. But when we're having a little bit of shoulder dysfunction, it's very hard for us to activate the lat. I got to a point at one point in my fitness journey where I couldn't even like flex my lats. They had completely turned off because my other muscles were compensating. And then things start to manifest, right? So like instead of using my lats to bench, I'm using other muscles, and then the bicep starts to hurt, the pec starts to hurt a little bit, and then you start to get that pull. So it's kind of like a downward spiral once we start compensating. A good way to test your shoulder health and see if this is kind of like the stuff I'm gonna address or the stuff I'm gonna give you will address your issue is to do like a little range of motion test. So I always like to go check my internal rotation. I go behind my back. Now this shoulder here, I can take my shoulder blade and I can pull it flush. This shoulder, when I go to do that, I have no ability there really. And what you'll see is if I have my shirt off, you can maybe see the bump there. My scapula, in order to achieve this rotation, my scapula will start to wing off my back a little bit. So the one on the good side is flush, the one on the bad side starts to wing. And generally, what we have going on there is the rhomboid here is not being able to fire to pull that shoulder blade back and flush. First things first is I like a little soft tissue work. So I go to Dr. Walters, she'll get in there and basically break up any of the soft tissue issues, and that's nice. It helps and it allows me to keep training. Then I also want to strengthen the rhomboid because I need that to stop the compensation issues in general. So there's a few different movements you could do. And all of them are meant to build up that muscle there that's gonna pull your scapula flush. The first one is called a no money. You take a band, you pin your elbows in, palms up, and you just pull across. And what you notice is as I do that, that muscle there is pulling my shoulder blade flush. Another good one, you pin the band under one foot, and then you grab your hand, grab the band with your hand over like this, as if you have a sword on your hip, and then you lock everything down and pull up, and you're rotating your hand here and you're pulling that shoulder blade down and flush, and that works that muscle as well. All right, another one that's great, just the band pull apart. So you're here and you're pulling those shoulder blades back and together. You could also do it from overhead, pulling those shoulder blades down. And whenever I do these movements, there's other ones we could do, but those are great ones to start with. Whenever I do those movements, I go for a lot of high volume, sets of 15 plus, because I'm trying to build hypertrophy there. I'm trying to get the actual muscle to grow muscle fibers, more muscle fibers. I'll follow up at some point with some stuff you could do with a plate and everything, but the band is a really good option just because it's easy. If you have this issue, do it every single day. I used to do it and I got away from it, and that's why I'm making this video, because I'm holding myself accountable, like, dude, fix this stuff. And I would suggest either doing it before or after the workout. It doesn't really matter. However, I do kind of like it before because it's gonna start to activate that muscle starts firing. And so when it's woken up, there's a less chance it's gonna not work because it's not gonna be asleep. And so when you start to do things like pull-ups or presses, it's gonna activate. And so it's gonna start building into your actual compound movements where you're using your whole body. All right, shoot me an email if you have any questions.